If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths, and sometimes heights, to ensure the power is always flowing. Which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey there, this is Alexis Knight. Welcome to True Crime, the Court of Public Opinion. This is a special episode of Alexis Knight Investigates, and here we're going to dive into a mystery that has everyone buzzing, literally. We're looking at the mysterious drones, and no one seems to have an answer. They have been spotted over neighborhoods, critical infrastructure, and even in restricted airspace. These drones aren't your average hobbyist weekend toy. They're fast, they are persistent, and most of all, they're unsettling. No one knows who's behind them, what they are doing. I mean, are these spy tools? Are they a new wave of tech experiments? Or, as some are starting to speculate with a bit of logic, are they something not of this world? This is not the plot of a sci-fi movie. These sightings have been reported in multiple states, with the most recent clusters in New Jersey and Colorado. Witnesses describe drones flying in coordinated patterns, often at night, with bright lights and movements too precise to be random. The Federal Aviation Administration has been called in, but so far, there's been radio silence on any concrete explanation. It's enough to make you wonder, are we looking at a new frontier of surveillance? Or is this something much stranger? Let's set the scene. In New Jersey, residents have reported seeing drones flying in grids over suburban neighborhoods. These are not isolated incidents, no matter what anyone's telling you. Entire towns have witnessed this. Some residents have captured videos showing swarms of drones buzzing in organized formations. The FAA quickly imposed temporary flight restrictions, and local law enforcement was flooded with calls. Yet as of now, still today, no individual, company, or government agency has stepped forward to claim responsibility on any of this. And the speculation is wild. Some say it's a secret government operation, testing new technology, while others point to corporate experiments in logistics or data collection. But then there's the outlier theory, the one that raises eyebrows and skepticism in equal measure. Could these drones be alien in origin? After all, they are everywhere around the globe, not just in New Jersey. Now, while most experts dismiss the alien hypothesis because, of course, they don't want to cause a panic, but they cannot deny the peculiarities. The drones, they appear to operate beyond standard consumer capabilities. They have advanced flight patterns, they have seemingly endless battery life. We all know we don't have that. Not as consumers, anyway. Experts in aviation and tech are scratching their heads, unable to match these drones to any known commercial or military models. So if it is not aliens, guys, then what is it? A foreign power? A shadowy private enterprise? Or could it be something we haven't even thought of yet? What do we know? What don't we know? And what are the theories that are capturing the public's imagination? Let's get into it. All right, let's unpack the growing list of theories surrounding these mysterious drones. Okay, so first we have the government angle. Some speculate that these drones are part of a classified military or intelligence operation. After all, these drones are increasingly used for surveillance, reconnaissance, and even crowd monitoring. But here is the problem with this. If these are government drones, why the secrecy when it's causing so much public panic? I mean, typically, agents like the FAA or military, they would issue a vague but calming statement to ease concerns, but instead here, We have silence, and that's it. Then we have the corporate theory. Could this be the work of a tech giant experimenting with logistics or aerial mapping? If you didn't know, companies like Amazon and Google have been testing drone delivery systems for years, but they've always done so with permits and in controlled environments. The behavior of these drones that are flying at night and in remote areas and over restricted zones, it doesn't fit this profile. It's almost as if someone wants to stay hidden. And then, of course, we arrive at the most controversial theory, extraterrestrials. Yep, I've said it now. And sure, it sounds outlandish, but the details push people toward this line of thinking. Witnesses describe lights and maneuvers that seem beyond current human technology. One observer in Colorado said, "It was like they were scanning the ground, but there was no noise and no logic as to why they were there." Are these drones mapping something? Are they searching for something? The absence of any explanation leaves room for these questions, and the public isn't shy about voicing them. And what makes this story even more fascinating is how it taps into a deep-seated fear of the unknown. Everybody's feeling it. I mean, for decades, UFO sightings were dismissed as the stuff of cranks and conspiracy theorists, the stuff of crazy people. But in recent years, even the Pentagon has admitted to investigating unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs. Could these drones be the next chapter in that saga? Or are we simply witnessing a new technological frontier that hasn't been revealed to the public yet? Couldn't they just tell us? Officials have been tight-lipped, though. But not everyone's buying their silence, right? I mean, independent investigators, they've started digging, using everything from radar data to thermal imaging to track these drones, quote-unquote. Some have even suggested crowd-funded efforts to capture one and see what is inside. But here's the catch. Nobody really wants to cross the line into illegality by interfering with airspace. And that's where they got everyone, with that one fear. Now, these mysterious drones, they're test, right? They're reflecting our hopes, our fears, and fascination with what is out there. But there's also fear. Let's take a look at the implications. I mean, if we find out who's behind these drones, what could this mean for our future? The longer these drones remain unexplained, the more the tension grows, doesn't it? Public safety is becoming a serious concern. In some areas, people have reported drones flying dangerously close to their homes and their vehicles, even commercial airliners. The FAA has strict regulations for drone use, but whoever or whatever is controlling these particular devices, well, they're just ignoring all these rules. And that alone is a red flag. And then there's the question of privacy. I mean, imagine looking out your bedroom window late at night and seeing a drone hovering there. It's a scenario straight out of a dystopian thriller, yet it is happening. Some residents feel like they are being watched. They've begun covering their windows or even installing outdoor cameras, hoping to catch footage of these drones in action. But even with the video evidence, the mystery persists. The question remains, who is this and why? And let's not forget the economic impact. Yes, it matters. Industries relying on legitimate drone operations are finding themselves under increased scrutiny right now. And hobbyists and small businesses complain about the unfair suspicion when it seems so outrageously not a hobbyist. While the media frenzy only adds to the confusion like it always does. It's as if these unexplained drones have cast a shadow over an entire sector of technology. For every mystery drone in the sky, there's a legitimate pilot grounded, waiting for answers. And, okay, folks, let's get real, okay? If you have been following the news, or even if you haven't, it is time to pay attention, all right? Because these drones, They're not just hovering over neighborhoods. They are hovering over our complete sense of reality, everything we know. What's happening here is bigger than a few unexplained sightings. It's about control and technology and about the question we all secretly want answered. Are we alone? And does someone know this answer? Let me paint you a picture, all right? It's Christmas Eve. That's coming up. You're sipping eggnog. And Uncle Larry, who swears he has seen it all, starts talking about drones. But not just any drones. He's talking about the ones that people are saying might not even be from our planet. Laugh if you want, but ask yourself this. Why haven't we found any answers yet? You're okay with the no answer? More restrictions, more silence. With all our advanced tech, from satellites to AI, why can't we trace a single one of these machines back to its origin? Just one. And here's the kicker. Some witnesses are saying these drones don't just fly, they vanish. One moment they are there, and the next moment they are gone. No sound, no trail, no explanation. It's like they're stepping in and out of our dimension. Do you think that sounds crazy? Maybe. But tell that to the scientists who are now openly discussing the possibility of multiverse theories and how these machines might be slipping through. It is a lot of information. So let's take a step back for a moment, because it's easy to hear about these drones and immediately get caught up in theories, right? Whether they're secret government tech, corporate experiments, or something extraterrestrial, we're seeking answers and we're willing to listen to the theories. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you really looked up at the sky and thought, what's out there? I mean, not just the stars or the planes crisscrossing overhead, but beyond. What is beyond that blue sky we see? And how do we fit into it? I mean, the truth is, most of us live our lives focused on what is right in front of us. Our routines, our responsibilities, our small, manageable worlds. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is how we are. These are our lives. It is human nature. But maybe that's why something like these drones ends up feeling so unsettling, because they don't fit into our boxes. They don't follow the rules we're used to. And when we can't explain something, it's easier to dismiss it or even ignore it than to ask the bigger questions. Let's think about this another way. Imagine you are watching an anthill. I mean, to the ants, their world is everything. They build, they forage, they live out their lives in a perfectly ordered system. But you, standing above them, you see so much more. You see the grass and the trees and the sky. You see their tiny anthill as what it is to you, a tiny piece of something much bigger. Now, what if we are the ants to something or someone else? What if these drones are the observer standing over us, and they're watching and learning, maybe even trying to make contact in a way we can't even understand yet? It is a humbling thought, isn't it? To consider that we might not be the center of our universe, but maybe just a small part of a much larger story. And if that's the case, then these drones are not just a mystery, they're an opportunity to step out of our everyday lives, out of the material concerns that consume us, and ask, what else is out there? What else could we be a part of? Here's the thing. Belief is a powerful thing. It shapes how we see the world, how we interpret events, how we react to things we don't know. If you don't believe in something, you're very unlikely to look for it. But belief isn't about knowing. It's about being open to the possibility that there is more than we see, more than we understand right now today. more than what we think is possible. And maybe, just maybe, these drones are here to remind us of that. Maybe they're not going to scare us or even spy on us. Maybe they're here to shake us out of our comfort zones and make us look up and realize, hey, we are a part of something vast, something extraordinary. Because if we can shift our perspective, we can see ourselves not as isolated, but as connected to a much bigger universe. Who knows what we might discover? And that's a lot too. So let's bring it down back to Earth for a moment, because I know we've just explored some pretty wild ideas, extraterrestrial possibilities, energy beyond what we understand, and the thought that we might not be at the center of it all. And maybe you're sitting there thinking, hey, sure, Alexis, that's fascinating, but what does that have to do with me? Well, let me tell you, more than you might think. Because here is the thing, guys. Whether these drones are alien, man-made, or something else entirely, they are a reminder of how much we don't know, aren't they? And in a world where we like to think we've got everything figured out, our lives, our routines, our tech, it is unsettling to be reminded of the unknown because it shakes us. But who says that's all a bad thing? I mean, think about your daily life for a second. The phone in your pocket. I mean, 100 years ago, the very idea of that would have seemed completely impossible. The cars we drive, the planes we fly in, even the satellites that help us stream our music, track our weather. None of any of it was within the realm of possibility until it just was. The mystery of these drones might be the next chapter in that story. And we as a species probably want to be open to it. And let's not forget how much we already depend on the skies above us. Every time you check the weather, use GPS, or even stream this podcast, you're relying on something flying high above, a satellite, a signal, a piece of technology that connects you to the rest of the world. What if these drones are just another piece of that puzzle? A piece we don't understand yet, but one that's quietly working to shape the way we live. Here's an example. If these drones are a part of a new wave of energy exploration, say, imagine what that could mean for us. Well, cheaper energy, cleaner technology, new ways to power our lives. Or if they're extraterrestrial, what if they're observing us not to interfere, but maybe to learn and to understand how we live and how we think, how we interact? And in turn, what if they're here to help us see the bigger picture? I mean, the point is, this mystery isn't just happening in the sky. This is happening in your world, and it's happening right now. And it really is. And whether you believe in the outrageous theories or not, you're still a part of it. You are a part of a world that is connected in ways that we're only beginning to understand. Because it might be a surprise, but hey, we don't have it all figured out yet. A world where the sky isn't just the limit. Maybe it's the starting point, which brings more questions. But let's start with some answers. Maybe the lack of answers, right? Because here's the reality. If we do want answers, which we do, about these drones, we are not going to get them sitting back and waiting for someone to figure it out and tell us. I mean, think about it. Every time there's a mystery like this, it's the people asking the toughest questions, the people that demand transparency, and the people that refuse to settle for easy explanations. Those are the ones who uncover the truth. These drones are no different. Whether it's the FAA, law enforcement, or even private citizens with a good pair of binoculars, someone out there knows something. And the more noise we make, the more pressure there is to share that information. And that's what we want. So if you're sitting there wondering, Why don't we know more about these drones? Ask yourself, what have you done to push for the answers? Are you even looking up? Are you even paying attention? Or do you think that's just for the crazies? Are you waiting for someone else to do the work? And here's another thing to consider. The more we normalize asking questions about the unknown, the better prepared we'll be for the next big mystery. Because let's face it, this isn't the first time something strange has lit up our skies. It's not going to be our last time either, so don't think it is. History is full of moments where humanity has been confronted with something it does not understand. And every time we've had a choice. We can dismiss it as something impossible, or we can dig deeper and expand our understanding. Think about the first time people saw airplanes. To someone in the early 1900s, a flying machine would have seemed like magic. It could have been scary. Now we barely think twice about boarding a plane and flying across the globe. What if these drones are part of the same trajectory? Something that seems unexplainable right now today, but will one day become a normal part of life. And what if understanding them helps us prepare for something even bigger? Okay, well, here we are, 20 minutes in, and we're still staring at the sky, asking questions. But let's get serious for a second. What happens if we don't get answers about these drones? What if they stay a mystery? Sure, it's easy to brush it off and just go about our lives. But is that really the world we want to live in? A world where the unexplained just goes ignored? And where the unknown becomes the norm? Hey, you don't need any answers. You don't need to know about what's going on in your own universe. This is not about drones. It's about curiosity. It's about vigilance. And it's about understanding that the answers we demand now could shape the future for the generations to come. If these drones are testing the boundaries of what we know, whether it's energy, surveillance, or even contact with something beyond us, then figuring them out isn't just a nice to have. This is a must. It has to do with our world, and we're all in it. And here's the kicker. If we don't take these questions seriously, someone's going to. Maybe a foreign government, maybe a private company. Then they can tell you all about it, and they can also tell you what to do. Maybe even someone with intentions that are not exactly in our best interest. How would we like that? The longer we wait, the more we risk losing control of the narrative and the consequences that come with that. So what is next? Here's where we stand. All right, the FAA has restrictions in place. Law enforcement is monitoring the situation. Scientists and experts, they're scratching their heads, trying to connect the dots. And you're listening to this podcast, and that makes you a part of the conversation. Whether you're skeptical or curious or outright convinced that there's something extraterrestrial going on, you're asking the questions that matter, and that matters. That is how change starts. Here's what I want you to think about as we wrap it up here. These drones might be a mystery, but they're also a mirror reflecting back how we think about the unknown. Are we curious enough to keep looking? Are we brave enough to demand answers? Are we open-minded enough to consider possibilities that challenge everything we know? If you are worried about these drones, and you should be, it is time to take a listen. Not just to this podcast, but to the world around you. Look up and stay curious, and do not be afraid to ask the big questions, even if the answers scare you. And talk about scary. Let me paint you a picture of what happens if we don't pay attention. All right, imagine it's a nice, quiet day, a normal day. Kids are at school, you're at work. Life is just, happening. And then out of nowhere, something changes. Maybe it's a headline that you cannot ignore or a video that spreads across every screen in your house. Maybe it's something bigger, a sudden disruption to the systems that we rely on. The skies above, filled with something we can't control. Sounds dramatic, right? But think about this. The drones we've been talking about, these unexplained visitors, could very well be a warning. What is behind all that? This could be a test even. If we don't take notice now, if we do not ask the hard questions, then we're setting ourselves up for shock. And let me tell you, surprises like that, they rarely end well. Because here's the truth. History is also full of moments where humanity ignored the signs. From ignoring weather patterns before disasters to dismissing early warning signs of technological shifts. We have a bad habit of thinking that won't happen to us, but then it does. Now let's say we stay silent and we write this off as conspiracy, a fluke, or something that just doesn't matter to our daily lives. What happens when that silence catches up with us? Maybe it's not today, maybe it's not tomorrow, but one day we wake up and realize we missed our chance to understand, our chance to prepare, our chance to shape the narrative instead of being at the mercy of it. We are an intelligent species, right? And if these drones are more than just machines, if they represent something larger, something intelligent, what message does our silence send? Does it say that we're not ready? Does it say we don't care? Or worse, does it say that we're too afraid to face the unknown? But I mean, here's the thing. It doesn't have to be that way. Asking questions isn't about fear. It's about taking control. It's about standing up and saying, we want to know. We deserve to know. Because the last thing any of us want is to look back and think, we should have seen this coming. Okay, we are at the end of this journey, but let me leave you with something to think about. These drones, again, quote unquote, drones, whatever they are, wherever they came from or come from, they're still here. They aren't just about mystery. They're about possibility. They're about the unknown and our willingness to face it head on. Because the truth is, we don't know what's out there. We don't know what these drones are, what they're doing, who's controlling them, or what they want. That is your reality. But here's what we do know. Ignoring them isn't going to make them go away. And pretending they don't matter will not protect you. Whether these drones are man-made, extraterrestrial, or something we can't even define yet, imagine that, they're a wake-up call. A reminder that the universe is bigger than us, that the sky is not the limit, that it's the beginning of something far greater, whether you want it to be or not. And it's up to us to decide how we respond. Do we stay in our comfort zones, clinging to what we know? Or do we look up and ask questions and embrace the challenge of the unknown? And maybe that's what these drones are really about. Not answers, but questions. Questions that push us out of our routines and out of our assumptions and into a world where anything is possible. So the next time you see something in the sky, don't look away. Don't dismiss it. Just go ahead and look up. Stay curious. And remember, the only way we're ever going to get answers is by being brave enough to ask the questions. Thank you for joining me on this special episode of Alexis Knight Investigates. If you're worried about these drones, if you're wondering what they mean, then know you are not alone. Keep watching the skies, keep asking the tough questions, and don't settle for anything less than the truth. Stay safe out there, stay curious, and until next time, this is Alexis Knight.